to another episode of Hobby Night School. We are super excited to have Raymond Li from Veriswap on with us. He's going to discuss his new platform and sort of how you can utilize it. We've been utilizing it and we found it to be pretty fun. So,
Raymond, we are incredibly excited to touch base with you. The moment I jumped onto your website and started tinkering, I was hooked. I probably spent countless hours, probably more hours than that's healthy than somebody should, playing with it. Why don't you tell people what Veriswap is? Because I will butcher it and I won't give it the justice it deserves.
Absolutely. Happy to be on today. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to chat with me about this. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, Veriswap is a website/app for trading cards. Our mission is to basically allow anyone and anyone to attend a trade night from anywhere and trade cards through the mail. It was started as kind of a personal project of mine. I've been in the hobby for years at this point. I've been buying and selling at shows. I really like trading, so I found it very frustrating that I couldn't trade outside of the show. So lo and behold, after about a year of working on this, we have a website, we have an app, and people are using it.
Yeah, I was never into trading until maybe about a year and a half ago. I preferred cash for card transaction, and that was it. And then I started attending more and more trade nights, and I found that I could trade down and get a lot of value for my cards. I could take a bunch of smaller cards that necessarily didn't mean a lot to me and trade up into bigger cards. I could trade laterally with cards that I was stuck with that would put me in a position to trade into other cards, and I found that to be awesome. However, for us, being married with 4 kids and 3 dogs, we don't always have a lot of time to get to trade nights. And so when I would go into different Discords and on Twitter or on Instagram, the thought of trading was always appealing, but quite frankly, it scared the hell out of me because how do I know that my card, when it gets to you, that you're going to send back? And how do I know that vouchers are actually real? One thing I think is unique about your feature is I believe everything's shipped to your location and then shipped out afterwards. And there's some assurances to ensure that nobody's getting ripped off.
Correct. Yeah. So every package, every deal once it's agreed upon, both parties ship the package to Veriswap headquarters. We'll inspect everything to make sure that the packages contain what both traders say they should contain, and we ship it to the rightful party. For both legs of shipping, the shipping is insured, so if anything does get lost, we do cover it.
So for me, this is cool because Jeremy's constantly trading or wanting to trade, and I don't like to trade. It's not my favorite thing to do. But with your thing, you put your card up, you put what you have valued it at, and then the people also have their value. So you can obviously, you will comp your cards, but they're nice pictures. It's got what they feel their value is. So where they're starting with their card without having to do the whole so how much do you think this card is worth? And I was kind of it completely eliminates that. And I feel like someone who's maybe an introvert and wouldn't walk up to somebody at trade night has the opportunity to just do it right from their home.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely, I think we're on the same page. When I used to trade in person as well as on Instagram, I hated kind of the dance, the back and forth between oh, I think this is worth this. No, I believe it should be worth 20% less. What about 15% more, right? It's kind of this whole dance. Our goal is to kind of make the trading process as scientific as possible. Where it's okay, there's direct links to eBay comps in our app. That was released yesterday, by the way. And there's direct comps. People can put prices relative to those comps, and then hopefully the trade will be as objective as possible and as fair as possible for both sides.
Yeah, I think it's cool because each member has I don't want to say a profile, but they have learn about this person and you can put what you're looking for, what you're willing to do. So it makes it really streamlined for me if I'm trying to trade up. This guy or girl has a card that I want. What are they looking for in order for me to trade up? And then it makes it really quick. They only want Bowman autos. Okay, well, I don't have enough Bowman autos to get in that card, and they're very adamant that they're not considering anything else. This is a person I don't need to waste their time.
Yep.
Another thing that I found to be uniquely fascinating was searching by what people are looking for and building my trades based on the ammunition that I have to trade into those things. So when I was looking to make a deal, I had a lot of Kobe White. I was able to search and find somebody that had Kobe White and build a deal based on that search function. Can you talk a little bit more about the way people can use and navigate the app and the website?
Yeah, for sure. Kind of like you mentioned, one way to kind of find people is through their preferences. So say, for example, if you guys collect Kobe Bryant, right, you put name Kobe Bryant in your profile, and every time someone wants to move a Kobe Bryant card, they can just search by people who PC Kobe Bryant, so they can offer you cards that they know you like, instead of basically just like blindly shooting in the dark and trying to guess what you PC and what you don't. So that's one way to look for cards. The second way is through our search feature. So right now we have about 11,000 cards on our platform. You just type the card name in through the search bar and it'll pop up. The third way is through saved searches. So that will be released next week. So say, for example, you really want a LeBron James Topps card, right? You type in the exact term. Every single time a LeBron James Topps card shows up, you'll receive an email and push notification showing that a new listing has been added to the platform that adheres to your preferences.
So you said you have 11,000 cards. So like that you track that. Do you know how many approximate users you have so far?
Yeah, we have about 3,500.
That's fantastic.
I would say the thing that I found, when I saw it came up and I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm going to check this out. And then I became hooked when I saw how easy it was to upload a card. It was legitimately enter the certification number. Sometimes a picture would pop up and all you had to do was assign a value. Other times you just had to take a front and back photo and you were good to go. I mean, it's that easy.
Yeah, I think personally that was one of my favorite things as well. I think like one thing that I personally thought was like really annoying when I was trading cards is just like managing inventory. Like at one point, like I had so many cards I didn't really know like what I owned or like what I didn't own, and then I would hate like having to go into my camera roll and like send every single photo every single time I want to trade with someone, right? So I initially created Veriswap to just kind of like be kind of my own inventory manager, right? I could just send people on Veriswap link, and like they could see everything that I had, the prices, without having to do that whole back and forth.
So for us, we like it just because of the ease of use, but there are some other protection features built in. Like if somebody backs out of a deal, what are some other things that you're doing to protect trades?
Yeah, that's a good question. So obviously, I would say our main protection feature is the insurance. If stuff gets lost at any point along the way, Veriswap will cover it. The second is anti-flaking protection. So in order to make an offer on our website, you need to enter your credit card information. The reason we do that is so that we can charge penalties and motivate people to ship once both sides agree to a deal. One thing that I didn't like about trading on Instagram was that backing out happened, at least to me, probably like 20% of the time. And like we wanted to add protections to make sure that both sides would be motivated to ship. So if parties do not ship within 48 hours, we do charge a non-refundable $100 penalty, and repeated offenses will allow the user to be removed from the platform.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. One, we use USPS has a function called informed delivery. So anytime we transact with people, we can identify when they make the label and when it's been scanned in at the post office. So a couple of times that we did trade, it was always frustrating when somebody would tell you, "Hey, your cards are shipped," and I can clearly see that you haven't even printed a shipping label, and so you're not fooling anybody. Second off is the $100 charge as a deterrent to people who don't commit and follow through on deals. And full disclosure, I had to email Veriswap the other night. We had done a couple of deals and I was getting ready to package a card, and I tore our basement is essentially like a mini card shop. And I'm like, where is this card? I cannot find it.
I sold it at
I panicked. So I emailed your customer service and just said, hey, I don't know what the heck to do. I'm willing to pay the $100. I understand the rules of Veriswap. I was more concerned that I didn't want the other person on the other end to take the time to ship their cards and potentially lose out on other deals. So point being is I think that that's very, very awesome because as a consumer, I'm going to be more inclined to operate on a platform where I know I'm going to be protected and looked out for.
Yeah, I think one thing that we also want to add down the road is just transaction history, right? Like for you guys who have done a few transactions on the platform, we want there to be like a record of what you guys have done, so that your reputation kind of carries through, right?
So it's gonna be like a grading, like eBay does, where it's like this person's like a 5-star trader.
Yep.
This person like backed out of 3 deals, or like this person like the cards that they sent were what they was it like those kind of things where you get feedback and then you can decide. That's just like another layer of like, do I want to trade with this person? Are they trustworthy?
Exactly. Yeah, that's 100% correct. We want to basically we want people to like our platform repeatedly come back, right? So we want people's reputations to be maintained on the platform, and the way we do that is through some sort of review system.
What's the fee structure like for utilizing the platform?
It's 3% of the trade value of both sides.
So it almost behooves people to accurately price their cards because if you're putting everything
Conflated.
2x comp, you're actually damaging yourself. You're penalizing yourself in the form of fee.
Exactly. Yeah. We were hoping that by making the fee price dependent, we would put down pressure on the prices to make sure that things are priced fairly.
What has been the feedback for your platform thus far? Have you heard any feedback? Are you following yourself on Twitter to see what people are saying?
That's a good question. Yeah, I feel like overall feedback has been positive. I think that it's kind of been like aligned with like kind of like my reasons for building the app. Like I probably have like hundreds of people have messaged me on Instagram saying, oh, like I'm really glad that you built this. This is an idea that I had, but for some reason I never got around to doing it. So I'm glad that finally someone did, because trading cards is like really, before this existed was like pretty cumbersome. So aligned with like my expectations, which made me happy. I think right now like our biggest challenge is to basically work out some of the kinks with our app. I understand our app is not 100% perfect. There are bugs. There are additional like optimizations that we can do to make the experience even smoother than it is right now. But we're hoping to get that to a more steady state where it's like, okay, Veriswap is there, it's 100% reliable, and we're still going to.
Okay. So, I think he froze. I'm gonna edit this part out.
Yeah, I can cut it out. Can you hear us all right, Raymond?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Who do you think ends up being the end user for Veriswap? Is it flippers? Is it people looking to add to their PC? Is it a combination of both? I mean, what do you expect ultimately becomes the demo that's using this platform?
Yeah, that's a good question. Our platform was created for the collector. So at the end of the day, we want cards to end up the hand of people, for this thing. We want it to go in the hands of a true collector. We believe that like the only way that this hobby can thrive and kind of like maintain at the momentum that's going right now is if it's collector focused. So which is why we're adding a bunch of features to make it easier for collectors to trace down their cards, and we're making it easier for kind of collectors to communicate with each other and kind of like share their PCs with each other.
I'm intrigued by this because Courtney and myself have different theories on the way people operate in the space, and specifically now that we've done a bunch of deals on Veriswap and we've done trade up and we've done trade down, and so we have to be mindful of cost because 3% is 3%. If you're operating on already relatively thin margins, that is a cost that needs to be accounted for. I personally value my time more than money. So I love the ability to post cards, leave a list of what I'm looking for, and then when time permits on my schedule, be able to sift through different offers and go through what makes sense to me without having to be stuck at a Lowe's hotel, sitting on a dirty floor for 10 hours, dealing with a bunch of 15-year-olds in Zion cases who are rude to get a deal done.
Know exactly how you feel. Yeah.
One thing that I want to like shout out is your first trade on Veriswap is only $1, right? Like our first swap was $1. That's all we had to pay.
Yeah, we want people to use the platform and come back and kind of see what the experience is like themselves.
Anytime we deal with eBay, MySlabs, whatnot, we ship right away. We are like children. Like you imagine when you're a kid and you can't wait for a toy to get there. You want it as fast as humanly possible. So when we do a deal, we ship that day, barring some crazy circumstance, worst case scenario the next morning. When packages arrive at Veriswap, how long are they there before they're shipped out to the end user?
They're shipped out the next day, the day after we receive both sides of the trade.
So when we emailed customer service, you emailed us back. It was you. Are you customer service?
I'm customer service. I've been responding to every single email. We get a lot of them. But yes, currently I'm responding to everything.
That has to be intense. Are you like exhausted? Do you ever sleep? You said you have 3,500 users in your customer service. I was shocked when I saw that it was you emailing us back. I'm like, I'm pretty sure like Raymond's the owner, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, I carry my phone with me everywhere I go. Like every single time like an email pops up, I'll respond to it as quickly as I can. I think like the main thing right now is we're just trying to like bucket like the different types of problems that like people have, right? Like, there's a lot of people that just have questions about the app because it's something that they've never used before, that hasn't existed before, right? But like hopefully like those types of questions will go away as like Veriswap becomes like a larger name and people in the hobby know about it. But then there's also like some sort of like whenever you ship something, there's like some sort of issue, right? The other day we had a Steph Curry $1,000 Steph Curry card. Got lost in the mail. We shipped at the beginning of February, still hasn't gotten there. So there's kind of like that daily customer service correspondence aspect, and then we ended up paying the customer out for the card that was lost in transit.
I do appreciate the adult signature required. That's by practice. That's traditionally, I'd say 9 times out of 10 how we ship, and so I was happy to see that function with Veriswap. I'm really excited. It's just a different way to navigate in the hobby. I do think Courtney made an excellent point. Is there's a lot of people who are maybe socially a little bit more quiet, and this allows them to be exposed and to potentially get into cards that they might not be able to do so if they have to deal with that face-to-face interaction. Or let's just say you deal with people Monday through Friday and you're 9 to 5 and you don't want to interact with people. You just want to go after the card that you like. Being able to open up your laptop or browse on your phone, click on a card that you like, propose a deal, and go back and forth in moments is pretty damn awesome.
I would like to also add to that because I there's another like aspect. I personally don't like to trade because I'm uncomfortable. Like I never feel like I am confident in the trades that I'm proposing, especially if I'm like crossing sports or if somebody wants to trade into a card that I have with like a player or a card maybe even that I'm not familiar with, and having someone send you a deal that you have time to like do a little research on and like make sure that you're comfortable with the trade is very appealing to someone like me who, again, like Jeremy was saying, I preferred like cash for card. Like if I want to buy this card, I'm just going to pay cash for it. I don't want to value my card and your card and then have to like feel like, am I uncomfortable with what I'm doing? Am I making you uncomfortable with this trade? where I have the time to like look at it, and it could potentially be a really good learning tool for people to learn how to trade.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I've never really thought about that point, but it's like it kind of gives you the time to things and think of things from like a less of like a heat in the moment, you have to make a decision perspective, and more of just like you can kind of like be more thoughtful and analytical about the decisions you make, right? Like my experience with card shows have been like the internet is always really bad, the Wi-Fi is inconsistent, so you're kind of like always making trades based on like your gut, right? And then it's like you go to a place with Wi-Fi and it's like, oh crap, the card that I just bought, I just paid 50% over comps for, right?
That happened to me recently.
Yeah, happened to me too many times. We're hoping, yeah, with 40 hours to respond, 72 hours to respond to something. So we're hoping like people can become like more thoughtful with the decisions and the offers that they make and feel more comfortable.
Yeah, that's a great point. I never even thought of it through that lens, but we've all been caught up in the moment where I've gotten more comfortable negotiating trades in person. It's not my favorite thing to do, but I'm always filled with angst, especially when there's a group of people who I don't know who are hovering over my shoulder, making commentary on the deal where they might not know my entry point on the card. They might not know I have significant upside, or I might be getting what I think is a good deal, and then they're tipping off the dealer to something that maybe they're unaware of. Not that we're taking advantage of somebody, but it just becomes like, it's you and me, Ray. We're making the deal, and we've got an audience of people. The hands start to get a little sweaty, and it's like, now I get to sit on my couch with a cup of Starbucks, my computer on my lap, and then just start slanging deals. And when they come back, take my time and what makes sense.
No one has to know about it.
Yes.
I'm also popped up on our Instagram feed, but currently we're letting people opt out of that. Yeah, right now everything is still public.
We've connected with a few people on Instagram because we obviously follow Veriswap on Instagram, and there's one person in particular. It's like, incoming from Veriswap, and I'm like, oh, that's my card. I just made that deal like 2 minutes ago. So they sent me a message like, hey, just so you know, we shipped your cards. And I'm like, hey, here's our receipt too. We shipped it right away.
So we're like messaging each other. It's like, it was fun. It has been like an interesting tool, and I don't think it was probably necessarily meant that way, but it's like we've connected with people who we've done trades with now on there, and now we've built more relationships within the hobby, so that's also been fun. It's kind of cool. I don't really, thus far I haven't really seen a downside other than like the card that Jeremy then traded. That sucked. He didn't know because he usually stands behind the table and sells all the cards. Someone came up and asked me about the card, and he's like, oh, and I'm like, yeah. He had it up on the thing, and as he was selling stuff, he would take it off the Veriswap, right? But he didn't realize that I had sold it, and I didn't realize that he had made a deal with it. So then we both were panicked. But it was handled super quick, and you guys dealt with it, and we felt awful because we are like, if anything, we're like over communicative with people. So
I've definitely been in that situation too. Like even like as one person managing like all of my cards, like it's difficult to track everything, right? And it's like, some places sometimes you'll like list something somewhere, but then forget to take it on some other place, and like the inventories would be synced, right? So yeah, it's kind of been a challenge of mine as well that we're hoping to, add features of Veriswap to make it smoother.
I'm hopeful you can clear something up for me. Let's just say that I've got a few cards that I'm willing to trade, whether it's up or down, doesn't matter. But I propose a few different trades, and a couple of those cards are in those trade offers. If somebody else accepts one of my trades, does that automatically void or cancel the other trade offers I have out? So that way I'm not in a situation where all of a sudden, like 10 minutes later, somebody else accepts another offer and that card's supposed to go to two different people?
Yeah. We remove the cards from your inventory the second someone accepts a trade.
Perfect.
That's great. Yeah. Because like for me, that actually helps like build more trades, because I feel like if you have to wait for someone to accept a trade on a card, then that sort of limits your deal. And it should be like first person who wants to trade gets the option to trade, and then it just kind of ends any other trades. Like, oh, this card already went. You snooze, you lose, basically.
Yeah, exactly, Courtney. From when I was like trading on Instagram, like I felt like sometimes I would get like multiple offers on the same card, but then it would, obviously there's like one preferred offer above like the rest of the offers that are made, right? But I felt like that led to like a slower trading process because like I would always want the better offer, right? But if you're okay with all the offers and the cards are removed immediately once trade is agreed upon, hopefully that makes the back and forth a lot faster and easier for both parties.
I think worth mentioning too is there is I don't know if you would call it a buy feature, but you can do, I've gotten offers for just straight cash for a card, and I've also done deals where I added a little bit of cash to get that deal done. Is the cash is that very similar? Like maybe it goes into escrow, and then at the time of the card switching hands, then the funds are released, or how does the cash portion work?
Yeah, so the cash is released about 3 days after payment, and then as the platform, we have ability to determine which way the cash flows in case there is a dispute. So say, for example, someone pays, like you pay someone and the other person doesn't ship, right? We can basically like undo the transaction and send the money back to you.
Plus $100.
So I will. Can you tell? Like we maybe have been users for maybe 10 days. Can you tell that we've put in our work? Because I feel like
I'm actually I'm very impressed. Both of you. It seems like
so.
You guys have
this is messed up. I love nothing more than proposing deals and then like waking up in the morning, grabbing my phone, groggy-eyed, cleaning the stuff up, still walking hunchback because I'm old before I stand upright, and be like, oh, 3 people accepted and 4 people told me to get bent.
There you go.
It's linked to our email for Reckless Cards. So every day now, my phone is just blowing up because he's on there. I'm like, he told me he had a conference call, and I'm getting like 22, like, oh, you're this. I'm like, he's down there trading cards. He's
You have it on both of your phones?
Trading cards.
I swear, Cord, I proposed that deal 24 hours ago.
That's funny.
Yeah,
you guys have it on both of your phones logged in the same account?
For email, yeah, because it's our business one for the email, and then we are logged into the same Veriswap account, obviously, because we, we share all the card stuff together. Like I would never sell his PC, and he might sell mine, but
just give me a chance.
Yeah, I know. He's always like, you know how much this is worth now, Court, right? And I'm like, it's not for sale, dude. But we have all of our Reckless stuff, and I think that throws people sometimes because if you message like our Instagram, even like for the most part, he's on Twitter, but I will respond to Twitter if he's traveling for work or stuff. So really, you have the opportunity, the email, everything is all linked to both of us. So if you're messaging, you could talk to either one of us. It just depends on who answers it in that moment, typically.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you never know who you're chatting at.
Yeah, that is fair, man. I've absolutely had a blast with the app. I love browsing. I love identifying cards that I didn't think maybe I would have an opportunity to get into. And we've actually been able to take some lower tier cards from a value perspective that didn't maybe mean a lot to us, and we're able to trade into some significant bigger cards, or at least have the conversation. And I think there's people that are like maybe selling on Whatnot or Drip or Network who need smaller cards, and they're able to take like a $2,000 card and get $2,500 or $3,000 of value out of it. I've been able to take cards that were stuck that maybe aren't moving well in the Michigan market that might be a better fit for somebody where they're located. We've been able to target sports and players. And so I'm really excited about it. And I look forward to using it more and seeing the advancements that you all make with it.
Yeah, appreciate the positive feedback that you guys have given me in the past 30 minutes. It makes me really happy to kind of we're having a good time using it. I think the goal, I guess, in the next few months is to kind of like make the experience more fun than what it is right now. right? Like at first we just wanted to get like the minimum, the minimum product out there, right? To kind of get people to use it, be able to have like the basic functionality in. Now we're kind of in the stages of how do we make it a little bit more engaging, right? We plan to add like a few more things like the trade feed. So like not only will people be able to kind of post cards they're looking for or like trying to move, but you'll be able to see kind of a feed of transactions that have happened, right? So it's like, okay, like someone traded a LeBron James card for a Michael Jordan card, and then it'll show up on the feed, kind of like your Facebook newsfeed, right? So we're trying to make it like a little bit more fun. So stay tuned for those updates as well. They're still in the making.
Yeah, before we get out, I love the feed. That's the first thing I always check to see what people are looking to. There might be somebody that's like, hey, I want to get out of this card immediately. I'm motivated to do a deal right now. Or you might like a player that's available. And so I've spent a lot of time on it. Like I have a curiosity for all things hobby related, and I've had a lot of fun with it, man. So really grateful for you coming on our Veriswap infomercial.
Yeah.
But we love growth in the hobby, and I think that as more people play in this, they'll like it. And I'm sure you seem very open to all feedback and criticism, and I think as a result, the platform will continue to grow and be stronger and better as a result of it. So, we wish you nothing but success.
Agreed. It's been a blast. So I've had a great time.
Where can the people follow you, my friend?
They can follow me on Instagram at Veriswap. They can also follow me on my card account. It's Raymond Li, ITS Raymond Li, LI. Yeah, feel free to message at any time with any feedback. Like I said earlier, like that's the only way that we can make something that everyone likes, right? Is if people are honest about their experience in the platform, how we can improve things that we're doing well, right? Like any sort of open and honest feedback is appreciated. And Courtney and Jeremy, really appreciate you guys having me on tonight. This is a blast talking with you guys, and makes me really happy to kind of like hear that you guys have had an awesome experience on the app.
Except when I'm trading cards that I don't have. That's I'll never live that down. But
I sold that. I'm sorry. I didn't know. So I will make sure to link all of your accounts too in the bottom in case people didn't catch that, so they can just click on it in the on Spotify and everything. It'll all be linked, so you guys can follow them. Make sure you check it out. Your first trade is only $1. I know it sounds like an infomercial, but I think you'll be addicted just like we are. So have a great night, and thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having me.